welcome to the stream. I am Kel McDonald with Who Makes Comics You Can Read at kelmcdonald.com.
And I am Alina Pete, and I make comics you can read at alinapete.com or at weregeek.com. Just making sure I have audio for you. Yep, we're good. My headset didn't switch over weirdly.
How has your week been, Alina?
It has been pretty good. I went out to Victoria and saw my family over the weekend, so that was nice. Got to spend a lot of time with my nieces. Yeah, and they got me to draw Mario's.
Bob's Burgers.
Nice.
And I'm going to share with you a lady that is the queer representation we need in more shows.
Good, excellent.
Alright, I've just sent it to you in the chat.
Oh, good. I like her lizard. I like that she's eating cereal with her lizard.
Yep, and she has a giant sword.
That is
the dream.
100% perfect. Perfection.
Sword,
no notes.
Sword and a giant lizard. Yeah. That's Nat, who drives limos.
Good.
I love how weird all the random people in Bob's Burgers are.
Yes.
As I rewatch it.
They've all got great little quirky things going on.
Yeah. It's very good. See, I've mostly been rewatching Bob's Burgers.
I have been watching a whole ream of anime. So.
Yeah, what? Tell me about the animes.
I have been watching. I finished Chainsaw Man, which is good. It's very good. I like.
You should now read the comic online.
Yeah. I mean, I have a shit ton of questions now because I'm like, okay. Aki clearly has got some kind of dark fate happening. He's got the dark fate merit. Something terrible is going to happen to him as he ends his character. We already know that he's going to get.
Is my favorite.
The worst death.
Future is awesome.
Here's my predictions, just based on his story arc. I think he is going to be forced to betray the rest of them, and that's what'll hurt him more than however painful and awful his death is. Because he's the sort of guy who would be like, oh, what, I'm just getting killed horribly? Yeah, that's what I expected from this job. But it would, tear him up inside to betray people.
It's so much worse than that.
Oh, no. Oh, good. And then I am now working on Makima is secretly a devil theory because there's some weird shit going on with her. She is too confident in all of the meetings that she has, these secret meetings with clearly high government officials. She has the upper hand, and the only people that confident in this series are devils. Yeah, so those are my fan theories currently.
Well, gotta get on the Viz website.
Yeah.
And read.
I also love and appreciate that they are using the time in the credits to build more story stuff. So the second to last episode.
That the credits are always different.
Me too. I'm like, damn, they spent some money getting different credits every time. Holy crap.
I especially love the credits in the episode where Hima died.
Yes.
Yes. Person.
Yep. Also, her death was the most viscerally scary to me, where just parts of her were disappearing. Ugh.
I really like when the ghost devil comes back and gives him the cigarette.
Yes.
It's easy victory or easy revenge.
Easy revenge. And then after the credit scene of them having a fun dinner to celebrate their victory, him going outside and smoking that cigarette was so powerful.
Yeah.
It was a good moment. Because I thought for a minute he might hold on to it as a reminder of her, and then it was so much more character fulfilling for both of them for him to just
For him to
finally
see
smoke it.
Yeah.
Yep. That was very good.
But yeah, you need to read it so I can talk to you about the horrible, horrible fate that awaits Aki.
Oh man, they're and it's gonna tear up the fan community because I hear he's the sexy boy that everyone loves.
Yeah, I guess.
Like there's a lot of Denji stands too,
Yeah.
but like he for the straight girl crowd, they sure love him. That pretty samurai boy.
There are a lot of. I've seen a lot of people who don't like the second arc of Chainsaw Man because Power's not in it.
Oh yeah. I'd
They're
heard
like
she gets killed off.
All right, then I don't have to talk around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, Power was the secret sauce.
Mm-hmm. She is the best character. I love her complete lack of giving a shit.
I'm going to win a Nobel Prize because I'm a super genius. Yeah.
Her just outright bald-faced lies are the best. They're so good.
I love that I just love that, like, she's so terrible.
Yes.
And just, I love the bit where they're training.
Oh God.
And they're like, we have to fight smarter, so then they start wearing glasses.
That's my favorite bit.
Glasses will make them smarter.
And it sort of did, but only because they finally took the time to think instead of just, like, fighting things.
Yeah.
It was so good.
What'd you think of the new devils all introduced at the end?
Like, fellow teammates?
Yeah.
They were fascinating.
Like, Angel Devil,
Yeah. It was interesting that they introduced them so late because they barely got any screen time. They were like, hi, we're the team that's here to back you up as you go in and do your shit. And we're really not important. We're going to do some cool things for a minute. I love the concept of the Angel Devil because it's like just very funny to be an Angel Devil, but also the like, hey, people's fear of angels, he'll just appear and like obliterate you. Because that's what angels do in the scripture. Looking upon them is too much to behold.
There's a reason why they enter with "Be not afraid."
Yeah, your brain cannot perceive them. I wish that rather than cute anime boy with wings, they'd gone with like a fucked up biblical angel. I love the angels with too many eyes or multiple heads or that are just like a burning ball of rings and fire.
Well, the gay ship is Angel, Devil, and Aki.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Aki is the sort of self-sacrificing fool too, who would love someone he could not touch.
That's
and he's only got 2 years on his life.
Yeah.
I feel like all of the characters but Denji are very expendable in that particular story. Denji and maybe Makima, because she's got plot armor. She's got some weird shit going on.
I just want to tell you what's up with Makima. So you need to hurry up and read it.
Yep.
You need to sit down. You need to read it before I get to your place at Fancast.
Good. She's got some. I'm so curious. I'm like, there's some weird shit going on there. She's got.
And then I can show you the YouTube
epic level plot
video that analyzes in detail the opening.
Oh, good.
Because, they there are hints at what's going on with her in the opening.
Ooh. Well, because there's the one thing that came up in the opening that I haven't seen in the show yet, and now I'm done it, so it's not in this season, is where she's like feeding Denji a weird bug, like
Here's the thing: is all the things in the opening are references to movies, not things that.
Gotcha.
But the movies that they are referencing, like, say something about the characters.
Princess Ellen in my chat says Makima made a pact with the plot device devil, which, I mean, accurate.
So you have stuff like when they're bowling, that is like a shot-for-shot remake of the bowling scene in The Big Lebowski.
Yes, that one I recognize.
Like, yeah, and then there's a part where
up to Denji standing there, like, just cleaning his balls.
Yeah, and the violence devil checking his shoes, that is a reference to No Country for Old Men. Like, there's
I didn't get that one.
That's
cool.
Yeah, that's a thing that the bad guy does. Like, after he kills someone, he checks his shoes.
Right. Interesting.
And so then, like, the part where they're cramped into a little room and all, like, can't get around the desk, that's from Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah.
There's some deep cuts in there. My goodness.
Yeah, so every single shot of the opening is, like, referencing something. So and, like, the part with Power in the bikini.
Yeah.
That is referencing one of the early trailers of Love and Thunder.
Amazing.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of, like, did Denji and Miss Makima go to the movies?
No.
Okay, so that's only in the comics so far, and that will be in season 2. That's one of the best scenes is Denji and Miss Makima finally go on that date.
Woo.
And they just watch a shit ton of movies.
Yep.
Like, they spend the day at the movie theater and they just buy tickets to basically everything that's showing.
That seems very accurate for a Denji date.
Well, it was Miss Makima's idea.
Aw.
And
I remember being a teen, being a shitty teen, and sneaking out to the bathroom after the movie was over and then going into a different theater so you can watch another movie.
Well, she is buying the movie tickets.
Yeah.
It's basically they see a movie and then they get, like, a soda and talk about the movie, and then they go see another movie, and then
Nice.
Yeah. And it's a really good scene. And it's, you know, power of film.
Yeah.
So clearly, like, the guy who makes Chainsaw Man really fucking loves movies.
Yup. He liked them enough to reference them all in the opening. I really like the one ending scene too.
He doesn't have. The manga artist doesn't always necessarily have control over.
No, it's true.
But the fact that, like, movies are so important, like,
it's like a theme.
Studio on board with.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna reference 90 bazillion movies.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen Jujutsu Kaisen. Or Jujutsu Kaisen.
I watched the beginning of it.
Cool.
And it's a little too shonen-y for me. Like.
Speaking of too shonen, have you seen God of High School? I think you said last week you had.
We talked about it.
Yeah. Okay, I just started watching it because I had to see what was up. Because I was like, oh, it's one of the ones that got picked up because it was on Webtoons. Okay, now I'm curious. What is it like? And oh boy, it's very stylized and very good. Like, don't get me wrong. But their main character, is the big shonen boy, is like, if you asked me to draw a character to send up shonen heroes, I would just draw this guy. For the chat, actually, I will just let me pull up a new layer here. I'm gonna draw this guy because he is all of the shonen tropes stacked together. So it's like generic anime boy face, funky glasses, very kind of Sora Final Fantasy-esque. He's got some big Final Fantasy hair with he's got funky eyes. They're like the star pupil kind of eyes. He's always got a big old grin on his face. This is not a great drawing, y'all. I'm drawing this real fast and very tropishly. He's got cool vest, also very Sora from Final Fantasy. He's got some big pants, and those big pants got funky boots on them that are like bright red and yellow. So he got his big shonen hero boots. And then what's the other thing I was looking at that I was just like, Jesus Christ, buddy. Jesus Christ, you're the shonenest hero that ever shonen. Something on his arm. He's not wearing fingerless gloves, but he might as well be. Anyway, anytime this dude comes into a scene with other characters, you're like, okay, well this character looks like is kind of wearing like, she's got like a high school uniform on, and this other guy is like the boring guy with the like straight line eyes that are just like a little tiny dot pupil. And he's always tired, so he's got the little tired eyes. He is just wearing jeans and a t-shirt, so he looks like he could be a normal character. And when those two characters are together, you're like, oh, maybe this is like a high school anime or something. And then this fucking shonen hero wanders into the scene, and you're like, nope, this is definitely a shonen. This guy gonna do some punches, and they're gonna be real big.
Yeah, that checks out.
He's the shonenisty shonen.
There's a few like they always have like in shonen that like really loud brash hero.
Yes, that's this guy.
And then there's like the cool guy type hero.
Yes, and that's the other guy with the like straight line eyes.
Yeah.
Who's always tired because he works a job to deal with his ailing
so
brother.
Like, Jujutsu Tensen, you got the brash hero guy.
Yeah.
And then you got he ate a devil finger, so now he is possessed by a demon.
Cool.
Don't shove random chunks of meat in your mouth.
No.
Lesson learned.
That's some Naruto vibes. The whole, oops,
well,
accidentally, I'm a demon now.
Yeah, so it's basically, it's like an uber powerful demon, and he ate like its finger.
Right.
So
do not consume the gun devil, y'all.
There are other demons, and so like this demon is so uber powerful that he was chopped up into bazillion pieces. And just getting his like hand.
Yep.
Is like getting world destruction power.
Yeah. So eating one of these dude's fingers, big deal.
Yeah. So the villains want to collect all the fingers of this former demon lord.
And then have a barbecue and eat them.
So that way they can have all the power.
Yeah.
And so now they want to kill main character because he has
demon fingers.
One of the fingers, yeah.
Oh, I mean, you gotta kill him and get the finger back, or you won't have the whole hand.
Yeah, basically.
You gotta hand a Vecna this shit.
And now he's been recruited by devil hunters that are like, well, if you don't help us, we have to kill you because we can't just let you run around with this demon power. So he has a few things in common with Denji, except Denji is more fun.
I love.
And his supporting cast is, I feel like the organization that hunts demons in Chainsaw Man is a little bit more interesting than
Yeah.
the one in Jinsetsu Tyson, or however you say it.
I like the one in Chainsaw Man because it's like these people are, for a wage, being forced to fight things that they should not. Like, you're just a regular human, you've got a gun, and you're supposed to fight this fucking thing that can bend space and time and, like, make you be trapped inside a hotel for weeks and then is also just a flesh pile.
I really like the part where the guy quits and then he asks Miss Makima thing and she's like, oh, that's classified and
yes.
You don't work here no more, I'm not telling you.
Yep. And like most of the people there have reasons to want to be there, but like some of them are just like, yeah, this is a shit job, y'all. You are definitely gonna die. You are just people.
Yeah.
These are weird demons.
And so the private demon hunters do better. You get to meet a few of them.
Yeah.
Next season, I think the Infinity Devil works with one of them, and that might be my favorite out of the ones that.
Infinity is a hell of a fear.
Well, what's fun is like she only says Halloween.
Good.
And basically, it's because since she contains infinity, she can't actually engage in the day-to-day life or a conversation because she's experiencing everything all at once.
Everything everywhere all at once.
So she just says.
What a great thing to experience.
So she just says infinity. So she just says Halloween over and over again.
Good. I like that because it makes her very alien. Anything that can't communicate with people is very alien, and I enjoy that.
But you get to see one of the Primal Fear devils in season 2.
Good.
This is why you gotta read it, because I just want to talk about it now, and I don't. But
I'm not quite there yet.
I don't want spoilers. Yeah.
I will get on reading it because I got 2 weeks till Van Calf, week and a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I can jump ahead of the beginning stuff because I've watched the manga or watched the anime now. So.
I mean, you should still reread it because it's good comics. Like
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in there that is comics only. Like whenever Aki uses the cursed sword,
yeah.
A finger comes from outside of the panel to
good.
Flick it. So it's like some other world, and that's a thing that they could not replicate in animation.
No, that is some
obviously there's
non-Euclidean Cthulian bullshit, and I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, and then the aquarium date that I sent you the page of.
Oh, that's very good.
It keeps returning to the shot of them from behind, looking at the aquarium, looking at whatever fish they're looking at.
Yeah.
And her info dump on fish, the balloon keeps getting bigger and bigger, so it is literally her info dumps are creating space between her and Denji.
Good.
So it's stuff like that.
Good. That's some good comicking.
And when Denji is first moves in with Aki, there is just as Aki gets upset with everything Denji is doing, it just gets closer and closer to his face. Um,
Good.
and then there's stuff like there's some of the jokes are ruined by animating them. Because there's the part where like um, when he's gonna get his kiss from Hime,
Yeah.
and um, Miss Makima shows up and is like, "Are you gonna kiss anyone?" And he goes, "Hell no!" And then Hime goes, "Don't you want to kiss me?" And he goes, "Hell yeah!" Like it is literally copy paste the same panel, just the hell yeah. So like him
Good.
shaking his head or nodding, like kind of kills the joke. Um, but also you can't just have him be still if it's animated.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like they couldn't do that.
But it's a good gag.
So yeah, so still I suggest that you still read it because there's some good comics.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this guy has like such like we're talking about deep cuts in the references to the opening, but there's also like deep cuts in the comic backgrounds too.
Oh yeah.
This is in both the animation and in the panel, but when he first gets assigned to work with Aki, and Aki pulls him away, and he's like, "But I want to work with Miss Makima." They pass by an etching, which is a famous etching from Paradise Lost of a man escaping demons by jumping into boiling lava. So it's like
wow.
you have escaped one danger and fallen into something maybe worse.
Yeah, out of the frying pan, into the fire.
Yeah, so, like, and so that's like a famous painting that he's referencing for like literary metaphor reasons.
Good.
So, yeah, dude, isn't afraid to put his influences on his sleeve, and throw in some heavy-handed symbolism in his comic about a teenage boy who wants to touch a boob.
Yeah. This dude, he's got very simple desires. His life was shitty before. Now he gets regular meals.
He's
Sleep
going
in
up
a
the
bed.
Maslow hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
Will he achieve self-actualization?
I like all of the metaphors of him being a dog for the organization he works for, because it's very apt. He's like, I just got simple needs. I just want to scratch on the head every once in a while and some good food.
Well, but as his needs get more complicated, maybe he does need more than that.
Maybe he learns to need more than that. And just how fucked up his childhood was.
This is a great Lost in Translation joke, but there's a part in the aquarium date in the Japanese version,
Yeah.
where Denji and the girl he's on the date with are telling each other to go to hell.
Good.
And her go to hell is written in kanji. His go to hell is written in hiragana because he can't read.
Yeah. It's like the equivalent of writing it in like crayon.
Yeah. That's like a thing that we can't copy.
No.
And
That's
also
good.
the animation can't copy.
No. I've been noticing a little bit of that in the subtitles on Spy Family, where
Yeah?
they will do a different version of the like kitty, not mistranslation because she's saying the right thing. She's just saying it with like a little kid voice that Anya does,
Yeah.
where she'll like get words wrong.
I love you. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
exactly.
Yeah. I like the part where she says that her dad's a feelings doctor.
Yes.
That's a great way to kidify what a therapist does.
Mm-hmm. I also like when she goes to work with him and all of his coworkers are like delighted because she is freaking adorable.
I also got really distracted over the weekend because Super Eye Patch Wolf did a video reviewing what he calls the cruelest video game ever made.
Ooh.
Um,
It's not TMNT, is it?
no, it is called Fear and Hunger.
Huh.
And you won't find anyone streaming it because it is not safe for work and it is against the
Ooh.
terms of service
Gotcha.
for Twitch
Yeah.
and every single other
Streaming.
service.
Yeah, it's like, do not play this.
There's a lot of dicks in it.
Gotcha.
So it was made in RPG Maker, and it's very like dark fantasy Cthulhu-y horror. And the game mechanic that makes it cruel slash hard is that you can while fighting creatures
Yeah.
target their limbs.
Ooh.
So they don't have like one health bar. It's like their head has a health bar, their limbs have health bars.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do destroy their head, they die. But their heads are usually hard to get to. So you have to figure out like, do I chop off this creature's legs so it falls over and then it's easier for me to stab in the head?
Right. Or how do I hit it?
Yeah. The monsters can do that to you as well.
Oh no.
So if the big troll hits your arm with its giant meat cleaver,
Yep, that seems bad.
you have lost an arm.
Cool, great.
And now you have to play the rest of the game with one arm.
Oh god.
There is a crow monster that can summon crows to peck your eyes out.
Oh, great.
And if it hits that, the whole rest of the game is just a black screen.
Right.
Like, the game is still going on. You can move your character and, like, randomly press A to interact with things.
Yeah. But you cannot see anything.
But you don't know what you're touching. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll still get text notifications that are like, oh, this is soft, or something like that. Like,
Interesting.
It is a grueling example of suffering as you play it.
I wonder what the disability community makes of the fact that disability is being used as a penalty in game, though. Because on the opposite hand, I was watching this really cool video about this disability consultant at, I forget which video game company. One of the ones that makes racing games. And he was signed on because they're like, so we want to make this game accessible for anyone, and obviously a racing game super hard if you are visually impaired. So what can we do? And they developed this cool system of like sound alerts to let you know sort of like it'll beep on your left ear, right ear, obviously if there's a turn, but it'll also do like proximity alerts and alerts that other cars are near. and they all have different sounds. And yeah, so he was basically the consultant on that, but then also the playtester to make sure that it was going to work as intended. It was cool.
And I think that it was getting reviewed because apparently it came out like 3 years ago and didn't get much attention. But the guy who made it clearly responded to some of the feedback that he got because he made a sequel. So the original takes place in like the 1400s medieval time.
Yeah.
And so clearly, like, he took out some sexual assault that is a consequence of the game.
Gotcha.
Because that's why I told you there's a lot of dicks in the game.
Right.
So in the sequel, that's taken out. I mean, there's still dicks flapping around everywhere, but there's no.
You get caught
in
and
the specific monster, you get sexually assaulted.
Great.
There's and one of the characters in the new game, which takes place like during World War II, he has her in a wheelchair. And he made it so that way her wheelchair is actually faster than most of the walking characters.
Right.
But an enemy can like knock her over in battle, and then it's harder for her to fight if she doesn't have her wheelchair equipped.
Right.
And since your limbs can get chopped off, if her legs get chopped off, it doesn't matter because she wasn't.
Doesn't affect her move speed.
Yeah. So, but obviously that makes her arms falling off way more important.
Oh yeah.
It seems like he's at least like took some feedback and like put in something to be more even keel. But it is still like for the characters that don't start the game as disabled. So you could have the argument be like they're not used to it and haven't adjusted to it yet, so they don't have time to adjust to it, so
because they're stuck in this horror scenario.
Yeah, because they're getting attacked by Cthulhu monsters. Because usually in the game, also if you get your limb chopped off, you also get a status effect which is bleeding.
Right.
And the bleeding doesn't stop unless you find like bandages or something.
Yeah.
So the game has you going through this dungeon, where you making mistakes has huge penalties that make the game even harder. You have a hunger meter, so you have to find food in this dungeon. A lot of the food is rotten, and if you eat rotten food, there's a chance that there's gut worms in it. Or that you get some other type of illness.
Yeah, some sort of
rotten
status
meat.
effect.
It's labeled as rotten. Don't eat the rotten meat. And then like there's like child sacrifices at one part. Like you find a little girl that's locked in a cage.
Right.
And she joins your party, and you have multiple opportunities to just give the little girl to a monster to make your game easier.
Right.
Then you get like there's a part where you stumble across an orgy in the middle of this Cthulhu monster nonsense.
Yeah.
Because they're apparently all worshippers of a god of love and creation.
Right.
And if you are invited to partake in the orgy, and if you take part, it will heal you. But there's a coin toss, and if you lose the coin toss, you lose your mind and get stuck in the orgy and get a game over because
You've been
you're now
consumed.
stuck. Yeah, you've been consumed by this elder god of lovemaking.
Right. Okay, so I think I told you about that book I read at the start of the year that was like, oh god, I'm trying to remember. It was like Forever and Forever and Forever and Forever, I think is the title. And it is about two friends who get into video games together. There's like build a game company, but the female programmer who is the programmer for the game went off to college to learn programming and has this like edgelord instructor who is always trying to make games that are like the most shocking game that he can think of. And just the description of this game, I'm like, oh man, it's that fucking guy. He clearly would make a game like this.
And I feel like, so it's like some parts of it are really challenging and interesting, but some part of it I'm like, this is some edgelord bullshit.
Yeah, it's just some edgelord bullshit. Come on.
Because particularly the sexual assault part.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. There's even a description.
I don't mind the little, I don't really mind the like
endless orgy
you or make you lose your mind.
Yeah.
Like,
that's fine.
Because they're weird elder Cthulhu god shit, so like people are going insane left and right anyway.
Mm-hmm. This is just one more way to go insane. Okay.
Yeah, so
but yeah, there's a description in the game or in the book about a game that he's written where the female programmer is writing it or is playing through it for the first time, and she's just like, well, that's fucking unnecessary. I can tell that this was written by a man because no woman would ever put that in because it's too fucking shocking and it's too visceral.
I mean, there's a lot of like monsters with their dicks out, but there's also monster ladies that just got their free tit in it.
I mean, yep.
And their titties can attack you because they're monsters.
Of course.
And also, you know, a giant vagina monster.
It's got to have teeth in it, right? Yep.
Well, so the thing is since it's on YouTube, iPatch will have to censor it, so I don't know if the vagina monster has teeth.
Right.
I assume it does because
that's in keeping with this game and
but
its general
also the type
aesthetic.
of game where it might just be like a bunch of folds that suck you in and you can't get out.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting. It's also like clearly inspired a little bit by Berserk.
Yeah.
One of the playable characters definitely looks like the main lady from Berserk. But yeah, it was like this is a game that's like interesting enough that I do kind of want to play it despite the edgelord bullshit. But
the edgelord quotient extremely high.
Yeah, but it turns out Max can't play it.
Oh, gotcha.
At least not the original, so I might get the sequel where the edgelord stuff has been toned down. But it's also kind of impressive that it was all made by apparently one guy. Like,
sorry, I was trying to put my birds to bed because they are getting really squeaky, and then they went into bed really nicely, and then at once they decided that they did not actually want to go to bed and flew back out. Which they don't usually do. Let's see if I can round them up again.
Babies. Little baby.
Step up. Step up. Good boy. Good boy. Hey.
But yeah, but since I can't play it, I then started to like read about the different endings you can get.
Are they equally
and-
edgelord?
Well, one is like, okay, so you pick one of the 4 characters, and each of the 4 characters has a different reason for showing up for this Cthulhu mess.
Right.
One character is a mercenary, and he's kind of the all-arounder character. And the guy who hired him ventured into this Cthulhu mess and didn't come out. So you are trying to find him so you can, like, complete your job and then go home. He's strictly there for the money. Like, later on in the game, you apparently get, there's a dream sequence where you get to see all the little characters' backstories. And he is a guy who, his girlfriend is a sex worker who just found out she's pregnant.
Right.
And he's like, if I do this big dangerous job, I can get enough money that she doesn't have to be a sex worker anymore, and we can raise this kid together. He doesn't even know if the kid's his, but he's like, this is our ticket out of here.
Right.
That's why he's there. Maybe if I help this other guy research Cthulhu, I can
get enough money
to get out of the slums.
Yep.
And his quote-unquote happy ending is that he gets out, he has a lot of treasure, he does successfully get his girlfriend out of sex work, and now he's famous, and they live in the lap of luxury, and nobles are like, oh, you're famous, and like successfully returned from that super dangerous dungeon, but he has hella PTSD. He like jumps at every shadow. He worries that the darkness followed him out of the dungeon.
Oh, good.
Like, yeah. So he did successfully save his girlfriend and their unborn kid.
And he got some money.
Yeah.
But at what cost?
He is scarred for life, and will never be the same. One of the things, their other second character that is one of the easier characters for beginners, is a female knight. This is the character that kind of looks like someone from Berserk.
Right.
The guy who hired the mercenary, and went in this dungeon and didn't come back out, is her lover. He's basically Griffith from Berserk.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She thinks he's great, and but he's maybe not the best. She's there just to save him.
Gotcha.
Because it's her one true love.
Right.
And she knows the reason why he went in the cave is because he got a prophecy dream that told him that like he can successfully unite the world, all nations, if he does a thing in this Cthulhu dungeon.
Right.
And so that's why she let him go, because, well, you really believe this, so I support you. And then, since he hasn't gotten out, she's now trying to rescue him. One of the mechanics of the game is if you get to him and your save file is longer than a half hour, he's dead. You're too late.
Right.
he's alive if you
You like
get to
speed
him
run the
before-
game.
Well, no, because that's just the beginning of the game.
Right.
So one of the endings is you get to him in time, and then you get him out. But right before you leave, he's like, I still have business to do in the dark.
And you're like,
And
oh,
he
well.
leaves. So it's kind of like your rescue mission, like, yeah, you got him out of there, but he went right back in.
So that didn't work.
So it's kind of like your whole mission was pointless is the ending that you get.
Right.
Her happy ending, or not happy ending, but quote unquote best ending, is super fucked up, because it assumes that you didn't get to him in time. And instead, she undercovers a dark ritual that lets her resurrect him, but he comes back wrong, so he is instead a vicious warlord, and she spends the rest of her life still by his side, but thinking, like, one day he'll get back to his old self.
Right. Maybe.
Maybe one day, he won't be so pro-murdery. Yeah, he'll be the idealist he was before we went into Cthulhu.
That's not gonna happen. Sorry.
Yeah.
It seems
so that's her ending.
unlikely.
The third guy, is apparently the best fighter in the game. Or the best fighter in the late game. Is like a Viking barbarian guy. And the dude that went into the dungeon that the night girl is trying to save, stole something from his village and basically killed the whole village.
Gotcha.
Except this guy's the one survivor. So he is planning to get the thing back, and if this guy's alive, murder him.
Right.
So if you play as him and you get to the guy before he's dead, and the night girl is in your party, you have the option to kill him, but then she gets super mad at you and you have to kill her too.
Gotcha.
So his ending is one of the few that it's like, that's an actual happy ending as far as happy endings for this game go. Because it's basically like, your experience in the dungeon has taught you how to kill all these monsters. So he becomes a famous monster hunter, and he trains his children and family, starts a new family, and trains them to be monster hunters too. And you're so good at monster hunting that these creatures become things of legend.
Right.
That people don't believe in anymore.
Right. Because you've managed to slay all of the ones that you needed to.
Yeah. So that's kind of happy, at least compared to the other two.
Comparatively.
The guy you want revenge on is dead. You successfully got the thing back. And you also are a badass monster hunter now.
That's great. Seems good.
Great things all around.
Good. You just have to walk through literal hells first. That's fine.
Yeah. And then the fourth person that you can play as is called the Dark Priest. And he had a vision that some person was going to do a thing to fulfill a prophecy to unite the world. Like, he basically got to peek on the other guy's prophecy dream.
Right.
And he's like, I can snatch this prophecy position before, like, I can jump in at the last minute and steal the spot.
Aha! Now I'm the cool guy.
And
it's me.
That's the Dark Priest plan.
Good.
And his ending is also, I guess, somewhat happy. because he wants to do this to become closer to his gods. Because you get the most lore if you play as the wizard, because
that makes
he
sense.
worships all the horrible gods that you're interacting with.
But also probably knows the most about them.
Yeah. And one of the enemies just flat out won't attack you if you play as him.
Oh, interesting.
They're dark priests too, and they're like,
Right.
hey, coworker.
Let's Bob, how you doing?
How about that elder god?
Yeah, and you're like, hey, I'm also doing that. I think that's great. Let's do this thing.
So, in his, you find out that the dream the guy got was a trap. That the elder gods send to people. Basically, the elder gods are too powerful to affect the world directly, or they make people go crazy.
That sounds about right.
So what they've been doing is they've been apparently getting humans to, quote unquote, kill God.
Good. Attack and dethrone God, always important.
Ascend to godhood on their own.
Good.
But it's like a false godhood.
Good.
So that basically they're sick of the newest batch of gods. And this dream is to get this guy to kill the current newer gods.
Interesting.
So he can ascend and become the new god.
The new god. Not as stupid as those new gods.
So they can repeat this cycle over and over again.
Yeah,
so
great.
It's implied that they've done this multiple times.
Yeah. This is just the newest incarnation. These guys are all chumps and awful, and he needs a reset.
So, one of the enemies is an enemy that you literally cannot defeat.
Right.
Is a head that floats. And if you have this artifact from the wizards, and you have the thing that was stolen from the Vikings village, when you face this unstoppable floating head guy, he'll notice that you have his shit.
Gotcha. And be like, yo, what's up with that?
Yeah, and you can say that you're down here trying to like learn the depth secrets, and he'll be like, oh, I respect your boldness.
Right.
But he'll only like ask you what you're doing here if he notices you have your shit.
Right.
And then only if you then ask, can you teach me the ways of the dungeon, does the fight stop? And he joins your party.
Fascinating.
And if you have him in your party, you find out he was one of the people who successfully killed new gods.
Right.
But he like realized at the last minute it was a trap. So the reason why he's a floaty head is that's super powerful and can kill you is because he got like some of the power and knowledge, but didn't fully become one of these new gods that get killed in the vicious cycle over and over again.
So he's kind of trapped in between.
So talking to him warns you that it's a trap.
Right.
So you can only not take the bait if you've been warned that it's a trap.
Oh, gotcha.
And so if you're playing as the Dark Wizard and do that, his ending is like, you have gained vast knowledge, and you wrote a bunch of cool books, and everyone respects how great and awesome your knowledge is.
Cool. You've got tenure.
So
you're doing good.
So Dark Wizard basically got what he wanted. Like,
Yeah.
as far as every other character, that's basically a happy ending. He got everything he wanted, no downsides.
He knew what he was in for when he signed up for Dark Wizardry. He was
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'll probably go mad, but if I don't, everyone will think I'm awesome.
yeah.
And they
so,
did. Success.
Yeah, so, and the sequel series kind of makes it seem like that everyone except the mercenaries' best ending is canon. Because you find books written by the Dark Wizard. One of the characters is a descendant of Barbarian Guy.
Gotcha.
And there are historical records of undead warlord, lover of the night, like killing and being a massacre monster.
So that's a thing.
So I might check out the second game since I can't play the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And also, now I know all the spoilers for the first one. Or some of the spoilers. And kind of, the point of the game is to learn its secrets. But also one of the edgelord fucked up things you can do in the game. One is apparently you could do a ritual to quote unquote show your love to one of your party members.
Oh boy.
And if you do that and you have a good relation with your party member and they agree, you merge into a big giant flesh monster.
Oh, good. Good. That sounds very thematic for this game.
Yeah.
Let's become one being. One horrible Cthulhian being.
Yeah. Which is apparently one of the stronger fighting classes in the game. So a good way to get to the end is to do this.
Is to eternally merge with one of your friends.
Yeah.
In a fucked up reverse Steven Universe fusion.
You do find out why the little girl is randomly in this Cthulhu dungeon.
Oh, good.
She is a newly born dark god that is waiting to ascend.
Cool. Good. I figured any child in the dungeon like this would be very fucked up. And probably not actually a child.
So one of the endings is that you get this useless child all the way to the end of the game, and then she morphs into a big ol' monster and ascends to godhood instead of the guy who got the prophecy dream.
Cool. She's like, thanks for being my babysitter. I'm gonna leave now. Bye.
Well, she
I'm
can't
a horrible
talk,
monster.
So, yeah, she can't talk. She spent her whole life in a cage in a basement. So.
Right.
Fun times.
Good. This Edgelord Fest video game.
Yeah. It seems like it would at least be a fun edgelord fest. I do know in the second game one of the players one of the characters you can play as besides the wheelchair girl. It takes place toward the end of World War II. So you can play a soldier that has abandoned his post at the front.
Good.
Because he has shell shock.
Yep.
But also he was injured a lot, so he has a heroin addiction.
Oh, good.
And so he has an extra bar. Like, he's the best fighter in the game, but he has an extra like need bar to keep track of.
Oh boy.
Can't make the game too easy.
Nope. That's the whole point. This game was hard as shit, but also real fucked up.
And then there's a trans character in it, who seems like I was worried, like, oh no, where is this going in this edgelord?
Yeah.
And they apparently avoid obvious edgelord things.
Good. Given the discourse currently online being just real transphobic.
Because basically, so that dark priest or whatever, his followers, she's from a family of people that follow the same god as the dark priest.
Mm-hmm.
And her family always gives their firstborn son to the priesthood.
Right.
And
she was like, nope, I'm a daughter actually, thanks.
Yeah, basically. So she is not a priest because she is a girl, actually.
Yeah.
And
like even Cthulhian horrors say trans rights.
Yeah, and so the thing is, like, her dad is really shitty to her, but like, it's mostly like, you could have had great power and you threw it away. Like,
threw it away to be a girl. How dare you?
Yeah, basically.
And she's like, well, it's rad though. This is very good. And now I won't go crazy as fast as everyone else.
Yeah. So she's one of the few characters that knows more about what's going on than everyone else. Because it's a weird murder fest ritual held by the elder gods is what's going on. She at least knows the deal of all the old Cthulhu gods. Because she was raised on it, whereas everyone else is like, what the fuck is this? Like, what's
what the
this
shit
weird
is happening? She's like, oh, it's that thing for the ritual sacrifice. We used to have this every Christmas.
Yeah, basically. And there's another character who knows more than her, and that is someone who is a disciple of the floating head guy from the first game.
Oh, good.
So good. Floating head guy is like, so there's gonna be this murder party.
Yeah.
And if you win, you get all this power. So I need you to go, win, and then shoot the god running it in the head.
Cool. Good. Then you can get the power. This is giving me very slightly the vibes of Unknown Armies. In the sense that they're like, it's possible for humans to ascend to godhood ish, but it's through becoming less human and getting really fucked up in the meantime.
Yeah.
There's basically these like avatars in the Unknown Armies world where it's like, so you're the avatar of a concept, and if you are the person who is sort of best at that concept, you ascend out of reality and go like backstage to become one of the Cthulhian powers running reality. But it means now you can no longer directly affect the world. You have to affect it through things that are under your purvey, which are mostly people who are just as obsessed about the thing that you used to be.
That does sound good. I wonder if the guy who made this like read it or liked that.
Yeah,
the guy is very clear, like, I liked this anime, like, because there's a character that looks exactly like the Lady Inquisitor.
Yeah.
So, like,
I would not be surprised. I'm also am sort of like, Okay, the guys from who wrote the Magnus Archives have a podcast where they play non D&D games, TTRPGs, and Unknown Armies is a non D&D TTRPG, and I'm like, So I see that you've written basically your Unknown Armies campaign here. Good, good. I appreciate that. I like it. You've done a twist where your things are not just the avatar of a concept specifically, but fear specifically, which is also a little the Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, it's like, yep.
Yep. What I love about Unknown Armies is so there's one faction in there that is like all of the fucked up aspects of corporate culture, but seen through the lens of like fast food chains. So there's a whole war that's gone on between the McDonald's acolytes and the Wendy's acolytes, and they're like constantly fighting, sort of in the shadows behind the scenes, while running their respective restaurants. It's very good. There was a great meme that was like a really fucked up McDonald's statue, like the Ronald McDonald statues that are really scary to begin with. It was like that, but this one had been kind of half melted, and like the head was all caved in, and it was grinning evilly. And someone was like, I'm not gonna say anything for sure, but this was definitely a fight between the two fast food factions. They definitely had a fight here. I think McDonald's won.
Like it's interesting that you can kind of see some other of these guys, like what he thought was interesting or like took from other stuff. I also partly wonder if he liked Undertale, because as fucked up and edgelord gamey as this is, one of the options in every fight is to talk.
Oh, interesting. I guarantee, like, if he's an indie game developer, he had to at least have noticed Undertale and like, its mechanics.
90%, and the fucked up thing is, like, 90% of the time, talk is just gonna give the bad guy an extra attack on you.
Right. So, very unlike Undertale.
Yeah, whereas, like, the guy that was gonna, the big ogre that's gonna chop your arm off, he's just gonna chop your arm off if you try to talk to him.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
like, there's, but the way to get the stuff from the wizards is you have to talk to them.
Yeah.
You have to cut their arms off first so they can't attack you, it turns out. But you then have to talk to them.
Right. It's not the only game to have done that. I know the Planescape Torment sequel. If you haven't played the first Planescape Torment, it's so good. But the sequel to Planescape Torment, which was like Planescape Oblivion, I think. Every single encounter has a non-violent option. Like, you can get through every encounter without fighting if you have the right kind of character. And it's not just like the social build. Sometimes it's like you need a luck thing, sometimes you need a specific knowledge, sometimes you need the charisma to go ahead. But it's kind of a special build to get all through the game without fighting, but I like that.
This game seems to be like, for most of the enemies, having stuff outside of combat helps you avoid combat.
Right.
So that that would be the non-violent option for dealing with them. But to get to that end game stuff, there is some shit that you do have to kill.
Yeah.
Like, I told you there's a crow monster that can blind you.
Yeah.
You need to kill it because it has the key to like the last section of the game,
Right.
which is really funny because before you realize it has the key to this thing, it's kind of like Pyramid Head.
Okay. Where you're like, nope,
It's
hell, run away.
it's unbelievably strong, and it's just stalking you through the whole game.
Oh, good. And you're like, oh, hell no, this thing again.
And
shit.
It definitely looks like Pyramid Head.
Oh god, I remember the first time I saw Pyramid Head. So my friends and I used to do this thing in animation school where when we needed to de-stress after a long week of classes, we would go over to one of our friends' houses and play Silent Hill. But like by passing around the controllers, so like you'd play until you died or 10 minutes passed or whatever, and then you'd pass it on to somebody else. And I had the controller the first time we got as far as Pyramid Head. Just about threw the damn thing across the room and like screeched. It was terrible. I was like, oh shit, fuck, nope, I'm not fighting this thing, goodbye. Somebody else take the controller.
The crow guy, one of his attacks instantly breaks one of your bones, so whatever limb he decides to hit, like, is going to be less effective. Then one of his other attacks is an instant kill attack where he just basically pecks your head off.
Delightful.
And then his third attack is the one where he throws crows at you and they peck your eyes out.
Right.
And then once you defeat him, he's replaced by a new Pyramid Head, who's the same as the crow guy, but he has 2 crow heads.
Oh, good.
So he's harder to kill.
It's even worse. What's worse than a crowhead guy? A guy with 2 crow heads.
Well, there's that instant kill peck your head off attack, and
yeah.
Now he has 2 heads, so he can do it twice per turn.
Right. Love it.
Yeah.
And by love it, I mean I'm never playing this game because these are mechanics I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like horror games. I don't like instant kill mechanics that are just like, well, if you don't do exactly this, you're fucked.
First I'll probably play Pathologic too.
Yeah.
Then I might check this game out. If I feel like suffering later.
Yep. I have enough trouble with roguelikes, where it's like, oh, so the point of this game is that you die over and over again, but you advance a little bit each time. Cool. I like them, but I have a very limited patience for them.
Did you play Hades?
Yes. It took me a very long time because like I said, I would get through a couple of rounds and then be like, okay, that's enough dying for one day. I'm gonna go play something else.
Who is your favorite person for Zagreus to kiss?
I mean, Deuce is the obvious because she's just the cutest. But if we're talking shipping, then obviously I love the design for Meg and the other Furies. They're very good. There's also some very, very spicy Megra Zeg art out there.
Good. I like that it has the option for you to be a throuple.
Yep.
That's the real answer, OT3.
Exactly. In any situation where anyone is like, oh no, I have so many people that I love, it's like, look, Polyamory exists, y'all.
Polyamory is the answer.
Just deal with it.
Alright, this is a question I've been asking people all day. Everyone has given me a different answer.
Ooh.
Vaporeon. Does Vaporeon have scales like a fish, seal like a fur, or skin like a porpoise?
In my head, skin like a porpoise. It's got that good slippery sort of skin look. I could see the argument for fur like a seal as well, because Eevee was all furry. But I think it's got like a porpoisey kind of tail, and I want it to have that rubbery kind of skin.
I think river otter type deal.
That would fit with the Eevee.
But maybe it has a different texture on its tail, like a beaver.
Maybe.
I think this is an interesting question because there's when people do their quote-unquote realistic Pokemon drawings.
Oh yeah, you see some really weird textures where you're like, oh, that's not what I would have chosen for that.
But Vaporeon seems to be the one that trips people up the most.
Yeah.
Like people say like, okay, Charmander is either gonna have scales like a lizard, or since Charmander's a play on salamander, or it might be salamander.
Yeah.
Like, those are the two options, and they are very obviously those two options.
Yeah, it's not furry. It's not gonna have like weird.
Bulbasaur is a frog.
Yes.
So
no, it's that's a good
gonna
point.
have a froggy texture.
Yeah.
Like.
I don't think anyone's arguing that it's got fur or scales. Yeah. Maybe scales because it kind of has the turtle thing going, but that's more turtle. Turtle's whole deal.
It is specifically a frog because it's a reference to those frog pots.
Yeah. And then it's come back around, and now people make Bulbasaur pots.
Yep.
Which are great.
But yeah. I think it's interesting that kind of everyone's been giving me different answers for
fascinating
Vaporeon.
I'm always weirded out when I see somebody who's really, really rendered the fur texture on a Pikachu. Because, like, it makes sense. It's a little mouse. It's going to have soft fur. But, like, the design of it is so smooth that I'm like, I can see an argument for it kind of having weird salamander skin, too. Like it was rubber so that it didn't shock itself.
I think it needs fur to build static electricity.
That's true.
Do you know about the really horny Pokemon manga? That's official.
Which one?
Cause obviously you can just Google horny Pokemon comic and you'll get a lot of results.
I mean, the first thing I thought of when you were telling me about the Vaporeon is I was like, is this that Vaporeon post?
No, that's gross.
It's so gross. It's the worst.
That's the real edgelord bullshit.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm not here for that.
I did once jokingly tell someone, if they want to make money at anime cons, they just need to do fan art of popular properties, and it needs to be gay. Yep. So they then drunkenly drew a Vapor, and I was like, also if you can cross over two properties, that would be better. So then they drunkenly drew Aqualad making out with Vaporeon.
Oh god. That would sell.
I was like, we need to add a dick to that Vaporeon so we know that it's a boy Vaporeon, and therefore this is a male on
some sort of
slash.
There's always room for big titty female Vaporeon.
Yeah, but since he drew Aqualad,
yeah, that's true. You gotta
to make it gay, it has to be a boy Vaporeon.
Yeah.
Anyway, so off topic of
Off the
Pokemon
topic of sexy
genitalia.
Pokemon, let's get out of here.
Yeah. Okay, so Sylveon, what do you think Sylveon's fur is like?
Oh, Sylveon's gotta be like so soft. Like chinchilla
I feel
soft.
like
That like
because
smooth but soft.
Sylveon has those flesh ribbons.
Yeah.
And I feel like because of the ribbons, their fur probably needs to be velvety.
Yeah. Like a chinchilla.
Because then it makes sense on the ribbons as well as the rest of their body.
Yeah, and I imagine the ribbons would feel like an ear, like a mouse's ear. Because it's got like a little bit of give to it, but it's still so soft.
I hate those flesh ribbons, by the way. They're awful. They're so weird.
What if you had fleshy ribbons sticking out of you? Yeah. It's like the worst skin tag.
Yeah.
What if a skin tag but trans? I do like the trans pride evolution.
Yeah.
It's very good. Although my favorite is come on, brain. The psychic one.
Espeon?
Espeon.
Espeon's my favorite, though sometimes I'm in an Umbreon mood.
Yeah,
it's always one
same.
of the two.
Yeah. I also really like Leafeon. It's just a good, quiet leaf boy.
I wish that Leafeon's shiny
Was not the worst.
was fall colors.
Yes,
was
same.
fall colors instead of the colors that they gave it.
Yeah, it's very not thematic.
And I feel like Vaporeon is the worst design, and Glaceon is the laziest design.
Yes.
Because I think part of what causes the confusion of what is Vaporeon skin-like is because its design is so haphazard. Because it has the porpoise tail, but it also has the scaly frills. But then
like
it's
fish.
a fox related to Eevee. So.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, well, what does this thing feel like? Could be anything.
Jolteon probably feels like a porcupine.
Yeah, or
maybe
like
a hedgehog.
Yeah, it's definitely got some coarse fur if it's got fur at all. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to feel the fur of a hedgehog's belly, but it is very, very coarse, but very soft. It's like, if you rub it the wrong way, it's kind of scratchy on your hand, but if you rub it with the fur, it's like very sleek.
That checks out for Jolteon.
Yeah, I think a Jolteon would feel just like a hedgehog.
I assume that Flareon is very floofy because no one gets lit on fire when they pet it.
Yeah, I think it's floofy, but like in like a really warm way. Like the fur itself is hot, not that the animal underneath is warm.
Like I feel like Samoa dog, the big floofy white ones.
Oh yeah. Like a Malamute.
Well, Malamute is the one I'm thinking of is big, white, and fluffy. I might be saying its name.
Oh, is it like a Great Pyr?
I'm gonna need to type this up because like I think autocorrect will correct my spelling easier than figuring out how to pronounce it. But they're always white and they kind of look like huskies. But
Yeah, I think that's a Malamute.
They're like Spits.
Yeah.
Samoyed.
Oh yeah, Samoyeds.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, they're super floofy boys.
Yeah, so I feel like that is probably what Flareon feels like.
Yeah.
Which is ironic since that's an Arctic temperature dog.
Yeah, and not hot dog.
Um, I like that Espeon's shiny is meant to look like a green alien.
Yeah. It's one of the few shinies in the game that's actually like noticeably different.
Well, I also like Umbreon having the blue.
Yeah, I like that too.
Instead of the yellow.
And then the palette swap on Sylveon.
Yeah. The problem with a lot of the older shinies is they were for a game where there wasn't color.
Yeah, so they're not
why they
recognizably different.
Shifted. Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard there's been some calls to like redo some of the shinies.
There's a reason why the shinies were added to the game on the second gen because that was released on Game Boy Color. Like
it was like, hey, now we can actually have colors, so this all makes sense now. Oh, I forgot it's Eurovision. Oh, heck. I got some Eurovision shit to watch after this.
Did you watch any other of the animes we talked about last time?
Nope, just those two so far. Because I really powered through the end of Chainsaw Man. Once I was like, oh, it's getting real good. I just gotta watch, like, these last 5 episodes in a row.
Have you been reading Kate Beaton's DS9 comics?
No. How did I miss those?
She has been watching DS9 with her husband.
Oh, heck.
And
I need
just
to watch these.
She has never seen it before, so she's just doing like her first impressions or what stuck out to her.
Oh, good. Oh god, I need to watch this. Or I need to see her impressions.
Like, we're having a very important meeting with a very important person. Let's definitely do it in Quark's Bar Casino thing.
Hell yes. Good. Nothing will go wrong there.
And then something bad happened. Report incoming. Lol. And it's Goldie Cott going, lol, it was us. And then they go, Cardassians.
Good.
I also, she tweeted, "You've gone too far, Quark. You're finished here." Spoiler, Quark is never finished.
Correct. Quark will always be back. O'Brien will always sigh.
Mm-hmm.
Long suffering, man, is long suffering.
There was also a thing going around that was the guy playing Bashir talking about, so they wanted us to get together and just didn't have any chemistry. But then there's this other guy who's also a lizard, by the way.
Oh yeah, and that's the ship. That's the good
Yeah.
shit.
I support this twink making out with this lizard.
Yep, good.
Everyone talks about Game of Thrones really fucking up their ending, but I think one of the worst things they did is they cast the guy who played Bashir to be this really interesting character, and then just had him get stabbed like almost immediately.
Yeah.
It's like, what a waste.
You had gold.
Yeah, I wanted to hear him do the really cool speech about grass.
Yeah.
Would have been less sad if it was a different actor.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh shit, it's Bashir though.
Yeah. I like the story about him causing a Disney cast member to fuck up.
Oh?
So they're obviously, for obvious reasons, not supposed to break character.
Mm-hmm.
And it was someone in one of, like, the costume, the big mascot costumes. So it's even more of a, like, breaking character that they're like, oh shit, Dr. Bashir!
Good.
While he is taking his kid to Disneyland.
Good. Look, Goofy can watch DS9 too. That's fine.
Goofy is not supposed to swear.
True. Gosh.
What's your chat got to say about our Pokemon opinions?
Nothing so far. Pretty quiet tonight. I've heard discussions before too on like, what would this Pokemon taste like? Which are always very silly.
Well, obviously Farfetch'd is delicious. That's
No,
why he's
yeah.
endangered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like canonically delicious.
Yeah, canonically, that's why they're endangered.
Yeah.
because they're
And they
delicious.
carry their own seasoning with them because Duck is very good with leek.
Yeah. That's why their name is like Farfetch'd, is because that is a Japanese idiom of a duck carrying its own leek. As an idea of something that's a long shot.
Yeah. The discussions
It's
over
their
like
version. It's like their version of Snowball's Chance in Hell.
yeah. Like a duck would just wander up to you with its own seasoning. Like that's never gonna happen. All the discussions online where they're like, what are they eating? Do they eat like the cow Pokemon? Is that a thing? Is that why there's a farm? Always end with like, look, canonically, Farfetch'd is so fucking delicious. Everyone eats them and they're endangered. So yeah, that cow Pokemon definitely getting eaten.
Yeah, the cow Pokemon, there's multiple cow Pokemon. So
Yeah.
they're all getting eaten.
Yeah. The sheep, good for wool, but also eaten.
Yep. I assume that they eat that ice cream Pokemon.
Oh, hell yeah. I assume that thing is so delicious.
Yeah. That or it tastes like snow.
Yeah, one of the two. Just to spite you. It's like, hey, look, I look like delicious ice cream, but I taste awful. Ha ha. It's fairy ice, isn't it? I think anything
do
fairy
not know.
is not going to taste like what it looks like.
Well, there's that new dog Pokemon that looks like fried dough. I'm gonna assume that fried dough Pokemon does taste like
fried dough. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, the fighting type guy that's basically just a giant dumpling is going to be delicious. You bite into him, it's like the finest bow.
He isn't a dumpling anymore.
Yeah.
He might just look like a dumpling.
I would still try to bite him.
There's the little turtle that looks like an apple pie.
Yes. The dragon apple pie.
Yeah.
That guy definitely tastes and smells like apple pie, and it's phenomenal.
I assume the plant Pokemon must taste good.
Yeah, they're plants. Some of them could taste kind of bitter because, like, that's how plants protect themselves.
Yeah.
But most of them look pretty damn tasty. And there's no way an Oddish doesn't taste like just a radish. It's just a blue radish. I also think that Torchic is just tastes like spicy fried chicken.
Yes.
It's basically just a chicken nugget already. Speaking of, I finally got to try Jollibee. So Jollibee opened, it's like this Filipino fried chicken chain that is crazy stinking popular. So the one in Surrey opened like a couple of months ago and has been lined up out the door day, night, all the time. Like, anytime you try and go there, stupid lined up. And I happened to be going back sit on the way home from a D&D game one night, and there was no line, so I was like, well, there was a line, but it was only inside instead of like around the block 3 times. So I was like, hey, let's go try it. And Lane and I ducked in and got some. It's worth the hype. It's maybe not worth like a 3-hour wait out in the rain like people have been doing, but it's real damn tasty. Way better than KFC. Nice and crunchy and like really good quality chicken. I don't know that I would try anything else on the menu. They've got palabok, which is good, but it's not one of my favorites. And then this Filipino spaghetti, which is like slightly sweeter than you would expect. And I'm not into that.
On Geek Show the other day, Spike was pressing me because I mentioned that I don't like chicken.
Right.
But I prefaced it, but it's like, this is a problem with language.
Mm-hmm.
People take I don't like chicken as I won't eat chicken.
Yeah.
Whereas I am just never thinking, I will go for some chicken right now.
Yeah.
If you say we're having chicken, I'll eat it as long as it doesn't have something that I actually can't eat.
Mm-hmm. But you wouldn't go out of your way to go and get chicken.
Yeah, but if you say chicken or fish, I'm gonna pick the fish every single time.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because a texture thing.
Mm-hmm.
I realize I don't really like the texture of a lot of bird meat.
Mm. Well, and chicken especially poor quality chicken, can be super rubbery, which is just really not an appealing texture.
Like, because I've had other birds and also was not crazy about them. Like,
Yeah.
Ostrich,
Mhm.
it's fine.
Ostrich is also like the blandest bird possible. It really has no flavor.
Then, turkey I'm kind of on.
Yeah.
The only bird I really like is duck.
Oh, duck is delicious. Were you there the year we went to get Peking duck during Van Calf?
No.
Okay. It was fucking delicious. We found a really good Peking duck place.
I assume so, because duck is always great.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when I say I like a food, it means I like it even when someone fucks up cooking it.
Yeah.
If someone fucks up a burger, they'd have to fuck it up really bad for me to not eat it.
Whereas my baseline is, I will eat this food and probably enjoy it. If I say I like it, it's like, no, I will go out of my way to get this. This is one of my favorites. It's the thing I really enjoy. And then if I call it my favorite, it's like I will go really far out of my way to get this thing. I fucking love it so much. Like, there's a reason that if I am too sick or too sad to eat any other food, Lane will just order sushi because I like physically cannot resist it. If there's sushi in front of me, I will eat it.
Give it to me. Give it to me right now.
Was I feeling nauseous 10 minutes earlier? That doesn't matter anymore. There's sushi nearby.
On the bright side of me being weird and unenthusiastic about food, I am apparently the target customer for health shakes or whatever.
Oh, yeah?
That are pre-made because,
yeah.
like, I don't want to do anything. So if you say, here, drink this, it's all, then you don't have to get off your ass and cook something.
You're like, perfect.
Good, give it to me.
Ideal, great.
I've been going to the gym more, and the guy who's been helping me was like, you need to eat more protein.
Right.
And fortunately, and I was like, I'm gonna be real with you, I'm extremely lazy about cooking, so all these things that you're telling me about how to prepare chicken and fish, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that ain't me.
I barely can put forth the effort to fry eggs after working out. And then he was like, okay, here is a protein shake. They come pre-made.
Chug one of these after a workout.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Nice.
And then he recommended protein frozen waffles.
Huh.
Which tastes about the same as an Eggo, so works out fine.
Nice. You can just have one.
Go in toaster, come out.
No fuss. Good.
Yeah.
No fuss, no muss. Just eat it.
Yeah. I'm tired. It's early in the morning. Because if I don't work out first thing, I won't do it.
I think we both know that I am something of a gourmand, and I go out of my way to try new exotic, interesting, untried foods. Uh,
Eh,
and
I'll
like,
try most meats. Like,
yeah,
if you put a dead animal in front of me, I'll try it.
yeah. And
Or
there's
just,
very little that will put me off trying it at least once.
well, the thing that, trips me up and puts me off trying new foods is, nightshade plants make me sick.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's always a problem.
Um, Especially hot peppers.
Yeah. Whereas I've also got a really high spice tolerance, so like I
Well,
can
it was I
eat
learned
stupidly
from
hot things.
wasabi. I learned from wasabi that it is not a spice thing. It is
Mm-hmm.
literally like a chemical in nightshade plants.
Yeah, that you are allergic to.
Not allergic because I won't die. I just feel like shit after.
Yeah, and that's not fun. I don't recommend it. Whereas it like literally makes me feel kind of like you've just gone on a really long run and have a runner's high. Like I'm all like, woo, I'm pumped. I just ate a hot pepper. Woo.
And I'm like, no, I'm dying.
No, thank you. Yeah. It could be a problem when I'm the food taster for other people. So like me and my colleague were eating dips around this table at a writers meetup thing, and our friend who was not as good with spice came over and ate it and like immediately started choking and dying and was like, "Ah, why didn't you warn me? I'm not good with hot things." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't notice it was hot. Sorry." And she was like, "Ow, I'm literally dying."
I got brought off topic by us talking about sexy Vaporeons, but I didn't get to tell you about the horny official Pokemon manga.
Oh no. Oh right.
Yeah, The Electric Tales of Pikachu, which was one of the first official Pokemon manga.
Oh my.
For whatever reason, the guy that they hired to draw it, everything he had drawn before was porn.
Right.
So like,
so it's pretty horny.
Jesse's titties are gonna poke someone's eye out.
Jesus.
They're not just large; they're also big. They're not just large; they're also kind of pointy.
What is it? The Electric Tales of
Pikachu. It was going around Star Trek Twitter recently because the localizers put in a Star Trek joke. It's Jean-Luc Pikachu.
Good. Wow, Jesse. Holy smokes.
Yeah, like, so they had to, like, when they brought it to the US, they, like, redrew large portions
Oh yeah.
of the art.
Oh here, I'm just scrolling and I just found a side-by-side US American version where the Japanese version, Jesse's has anti-gravity tits. They're like
poke someone's eye out.
Massive. And in the American version, the crotch line of her skirt has been removed and her chest is very much less noticeable.
But then they had to draw James behind her because her titties were blocking him.
Yeah, like half of his head had to be drawn in because that's how big they were.
Look up what Misty looks like in that comic.
Electric Tale of Pikachu. Misty. Holy Jeebus. Those are... yeah. Isn't she like 10?
I think she's 12 or 14, somewhere around there. I know Brock is supposed to be 16.
Right, because he was like the older kid.
Yeah,
Jesus, Misty.
It's so fascinating. That comic is so fascinating because, like, you have that, but then there are also, like, he was the writer on it too, and he put in some really interesting ideas. That, like, if Pokemon the show wanted to get real, they could, like, put in there. Because it says, like, Jesse and James joined Team Rocket because people that want to become Pokemon trainers drop out of school and travel the world at age 10.
Right.
So if you don't make it as a Pokemon champion, you have dropped out of school at age 10.
Right.
So
you're not really getting ahead.
So both of them dropped out of school at age 10 and then, like, had no other
marketable skills.
Life skills, which is why they turned to crime.
Good. Oh, I've got a very good Jesse and James video to share with you after the stream. I might drop it in my chat.
Okay.
It's very silly. It's a music mashup somebody did and animated Jesse and James over it and Meowth, and it's so funny.
And then another one is Ash doesn't catch Pokemon that often, not because he sucks, which is the case in the anime.
Yeah.
But because, like in the game, in this manga, Pokeballs cost money.
Right.
So Ash is poor. Like,
yeah. He's like, oh, you're not worth one of my precious few Pokeballs.
Well, there's a part where a Haunter used Dream Eater on a bunch of people, so they're all stuck in comas. So a bunch of, like, Pokemon trainers are working together to stop this mad Haunter. And Ash tries to catch it, and it breaks out and he uses an Ultra Ball, and it breaks out. But it then, like, is defeated right afterwards, and everyone wakes up for their comas, and it cuts to Ash, who is crying because it took him 3 months to save up for that Ultra Ball.
Oh, buddy. I know those feels.
So, it's an interesting comic. And it's also interesting in how it had to censor those anti-gravity rocket titties.
My goodness.
But it is now 10.
Yeah, that's a good time to call it.
So we should call it, yep. Thanks, folks, for watching and listening to us ramble about Pokemon nonsense and edgelord video games.
Hell yeah. We will see you all next week.
Later.
Bye.